Hello, everyone. This is Kyla from Hidden Gems Literary Emporium, your family-owned nonprofit community bookstore. And today we have a very special guest all the way from California, Miss Stephanie Olivia Bell, who is the author of The Growth of a Girl to the Wisdom of a Woman, a beautiful book of poetry that is on display and available here at Hidden Gems. Come on by and check it out. I just want to begin by thanking you, Miss Stephanie, for your time today and for taking the time to publish this beautiful book.
Thank you very much.
No problem at all. And before we get into it, if you don't mind, could you briefly introduce yourself to everyone and talk about the inspiration behind this book? And I'm kind of curious to know if there was a specific event that prompted this or if it was a process that happened over time.
It's over time. There are 3 sections of this book: youth, first love nature, and wisdom. And I've always turned to paper and pen when excited, in wonder, or distress. And I've found that writing down the obtrusive thoughts frees the mind. And for this reason, I have chosen poetry as the venue. Hopefully, you too can relate. I hope that you can glean some insight into yourself and find peace, joy, and some wisdom. I may add that some of the poetry is simple and obvious. Others need to be read more than once. As in a painting, the observer gets out of it what relates to her. So too in poetry. You may read a poem and feel something entirely different from why I wrote it. That is just fine. My purpose was personal. Your purpose could be that the poem stimulates a remembrance of a time in your life that can be relived. Enjoy. Now, this book was harder to get gathered together and published than it was to write, because it goes from the growth of a girl to the wisdom of a woman. And as I have expressed, I write things down all the time. And it was just going back in time and collecting everything I'd written and putting them into some sequential order.
How many years would you say that you've been writing poetry?
Well, forever. I'm 86 now. Oh, my goodness. I started writing in high school.
Oh, wow. And do you remember?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to say we had an annual that we published every year, and there were always opportunities to present something and either have it put in or not, and usually what I had written was put in. So always written.
So at that time in your life, how did you first get introduced to poetry?
I guess from my English teacher, in school.
Yeah. One thing that I love. Oh, what were you saying?
No, go ahead. One thing you love.
Oh, one thing that I love about poetry is exactly what you said, how the meaning of the words can be interpreted in different ways. And, someone might read your book at one point in their life and it will resonate with them in a certain way. And then at another point in their life, they might pick the book up again and it might, speak completely different meanings to their life and what they're going through. I just flipped open to a page 89, which is called The Gift. And if you don't mind, I would just like to read it very quickly.
Absolutely. I'm turning to it right now. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So it's called The Gift. The gift, the magnificence of it. How unexpected. The warmth, yet cool clarity. The depth, so sophisticated. The serene strength, the solidity, the magic. Because it was yours, as it is now mine, it will live forever. Live on, loving hands, touching the lives of others, sharing the life and memory of you. May I be as fortunate as to find a caring, concerned, appreciative recipient when it is my turn to pass the gift of the amethyst.
That's
That's
right.
beautiful.
Thank
Do
you.
you remember what prompted that poem specifically?
Well, obviously, receiving the amethyst. It was a ring. I still have it. Yeah,
Oh wow.
and that was in the last section, was it not? In the let's see here, we got the and I think it was in the well, hmm. There are several poems on gifts.
Yes. And there's also quite a few poems about love. Can you talk a little bit and share your thoughts about love and how maybe love or our perception of love will transform as we grow from a girl to a woman?
Well, that's true, and I think that's in the contentment of the growth of a girl. Uh, kind of like trying to say, well, it's just all about your first love, your loss, etc., that kind of thing, and then when to let go and go on with the. I think at the end of that section, I wrote something called. Let's see here. Okay, it's called Wonder. A crescent moon, a tiny star, and I wonder how you are. Very succinct, but that was the end of a relationship.
And I love is one of the things that, we, especially as women, we think about a lot, even as from little girls. And one of the things that I love about the format of this book is that there's one page on every book. And with poetry books, especially books like this, we always encourage readers to use the poems as prompts for their own thoughts. And this book is great because it's sectioned off into certain sections. It allows the reader to go to maybe a section that they're feeling compelled to at the time. And it also prompts the reader to also write. You have poems in here that are longer, some of that are shorter, maybe just a few lines. And the beautiful thing about poetry is that there's no limits as to what you can do.
True. I mean, I think there's almost an essay in here, but in poetry form as it's presented, and that would be the very last one in the collection called. Where are we? It was I think it was about the cross, right?
Yes, that's the last poem, very last one.
Yeah. I'm a founding member of our Episcopal Church in Oak Park, California area,
Oh wow.
and I think that's part of what I saw there. Yeah, have you seen the cross, right? And it's very funny that when the church was being built, I was over there, obviously, in and out a lot. And one morning I went over, and they were painting what we call the parish hall, not the physical church part, but the parish hall, the extension of it. And I said, "Wow, is that color? What color is that?" And they said, "Well, it's not. You're seeing it because there are no windows. All those sunlight comes in, and that's." I said, "Is that the same color as the church?" He said, "Well, go into the church now and look." And it had blended in, and it wasn't the bright pink I saw. I didn't think was too appropriate, but anyway, it's just an aside. And one time I went after everything was done, and the biblical garden had been put together, and there was a fountain in it. And I got up in the middle of the night, just put a coat on over my nightgown and drove over there and stood up on the wall because I wanted to get a picture of the moon behind the cross. Well, when I got there, guess what? There was an owl sitting on the cross, which,
Wow.
which totally ruined my idea and scared me to death because he heard me and he went flapping up into the sky, but it
Yeah.
just was curious.
Yeah. And
So that's the cross that I'm referencing in the poem.
okay. Thank you for sharing that with us. I love one of the reasons why we love doing these interviews is so that our readers and your readers can get a little background about certain things and real life experiences that influence some of these poems. And it's interesting how, love, nature, and just your life experiences can affect so many people just by you writing your thoughts down on paper. And as you said, writing is a go-to for a lot of us to express ourselves, whether we're feeling happy or sad or, the variety of emotions that we feel as humans and as women. And this book is a great expression of all of those things. And it's also a great book for mothers and their growing girls or growing young women to read together. And there's a lot of subjects in here that can be good prompts for conversation.
True.
One of the main themes that jumped out to me was just beauty in general. You have one poem called Brown Eyes that I think is so beautiful. And of course, I also love the poem called The Gift. There's another poem called The White Rose that's also very beautiful. And, you did such a great job with expression in different forms. So I really appreciate you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. One of the poems about that sort of thing, just the one about recovery from a deep hurt, is called
Yeah.
Sleep. Yeah. Sleep, the soothing balm of sorrow. Sun, its bandage. Time, the healer. Indulge. They're all God's gifts. Yeah, that's on
Mm.
page 37. And that's towards the end of the love section. Love and loss of love.
Right.
Yes.
And I like the line, time, the healer. I was speaking with someone else about this yesterday. We were talking about um, grief and
Mm-hmm.
how basically exactly what you just said in that poem, how time can be the healer for hurt and pain or love lost or grief.
Yes. And again, the one on 39, remember, when the sun warms the dew on the rose, remember. When the warmth from its rays lengthen the days, remember. When the splashing sea sparkles with the light from above, remember. When the moon takes over so the sun can rest, remember. And I'll remember, for you are all the sun to me. Now that was written for somebody whose wife had died.
Oh, wow. Hmm. I love that. Yeah. And when people are experiencing, death of a loved one, it's these little things like how you mentioned that do make us remember, the small things, maybe the dew on a flower that person loved, or the time of day that person loved. And when we lose someone in our lives, these small things are big remembrances to us of who that person was and the things that they cared about.
Exactly. I have written another little kind of a pamphlet book with pictures and all. It's called Contentment Found in Confinement, Pandemic
Oh, wow.
Poetry and Prose. And it's all from our deck. We live in the Lake Sherwood area in Westlake
Mm-hmm.
Village. And this one is called Open Your Eyes.
Mm.
Life is a Life is a journey. God knows the path. Detours come for a reason. Revel in them, placing your path for a reason. How do you react? With anger, upset, or learn from the experience? Remember, God knows your path. He will not lead you astray. There is something to be gained from the detour. Open your eyes.
I love that.
And
And
that was because of the confinement. We were stuck,
right,
you know. That's
right.
the era of confinement.
Yeah,
And I said, yeah, confinement found in contentment found in confinement. Pandemic
right.
poison rose, yeah. But it's
Yeah.
sort of similar to, and all that one is about what I saw and what I heard, and just sitting on my deck.
Mm. You can be inspired to write poetry, but also other forms of writing just by going outside and sitting on your deck or saying, I want to get a picture of the moon. Or, when you're in school, for any young people who are going to be listening, it's important that we find inspiration in anything and everything that's around us, as you have done throughout your life.
That's absolutely right. And I'm in Toastmasters, and we meet once a week at 6:30 in the morning, our time. 6:30, it'd be 9:30 your time, but it's a little early. But it's called Daybreakers, and I have to write speeches on occasion, and it's continuing in that manner that all of this has helped, I think.
Yes. I know a few people that are in that program. And also here at the bookstore, we do reading, writing, and public speaking classes for ages 1 to 100, as we like to say. And so I want to encourage everyone who is listening to this interview to find a group, or if you're looking for inspiration or support in reading, writing, or public speaking, there's so many resources out there and so many people to be inspired by and to help you grow as a speaker or a writer or a reader. And those three skills go hand in hand. So yeah, just want to put that out there. Encourage everyone to, get the support and the help that they need, or that they feel that can elevate them in their skills.
Excellent. And in fact, in Toastmasters, and there are groups all over the place. They don't all start at 6:30 in the morning.
Yes.
They meet they meet at noon, or they meet in the evening, and it's usually once a week. But what you learn also is not to say or when you're the speaker. No one's going to interrupt you, so just pause, take a breath,
Right.
and try to remember what the word was you were looking for, or change the word.
Right.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yes, absolutely. A question about your future in your authorship. Do you plan on publishing any other books?
Well, the Contentment Found in Confinement is published, but not, well, let's say this, it's printed but not published. I have to work on getting it published. And I never, remember now, I never intended to write a book. I just was writing and had to decide how these poems I've written through the years would fit into a major book. And that's where the title came from, The Growth of a Girl to the Wisdom of a Woman, and kind of slotted what I've been writing into those spots. I don't anticipate another book, so to say, not, but I'm still writing, so we'll see what happens.
Right. You got to go with the flow. How you feel.
Excuse me?
I said, as writers, sometimes it's just good to go with the flow with how you feel.
Go with the flow? I'm not quite understanding. I don't know what happened. Say it again, please.
Oh, I'm saying as writers with the writing process, sometimes it's just best to go with the flow, how you feel.
Oh, yes. How do I feel about that?
Yes.
Going with the flow? Well, I'm more independent. I'm more of an independent taker than a groupie. So,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're talking about life, going with the flow, you've got to be sure that's the right direction of the flow, or you're going to end up in a river and drown yourself.
Or you're gonna fly away. You're gonna flow in the wrong direction, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Miss Stephanie, I want to thank you again for your time today. And I want to encourage everyone to come by Hidden Gems Literary Emporium and get their copy of The Growth of a Girl to the Wisdom of a Woman. We always encourage our readers to reach out to the author if they have any questions or comments about the book. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you if they would like to maybe leave a review or ask?
Oh, I would appreciate that very much. I think that's very helpful to encourage ongoing of writing and know that others respected what you said and appreciated it. Best way would be my email, which is Stephanie, Stephanie, Bell, Bell, Eagle, Eagle, at me.com. Stephanie Bell Eagle at me.com. The Stephanie Olivia Bell is my pseudonym.
Okay. And that's Stephanie Bell Eagle at me.com. If anyone has any questions about these poems or would like to share some feedback, please reach out to Miss Stephanie and email her. Thank you again, Miss Stephanie, for your time today. We're so excited that your book is here. It's such a wonderful and beautiful book of poetry. And again, I want to encourage everyone who will be listening to this interview to come by Hidden Gems Literary Emporium and get your copy. Or if you give us a call at 609-361-4331, we would be more than happy to ship a copy of this book to your home. We love you all for reading and listening. And thank you again, Miss Bell, for what you do.
Thank you very, very much for including me in your program.
Oh, no problem at all. And I look forward to speaking to you again real soon.
All righty. Thanks, Kayla.
No problem. Have a great day.
Bye.